Hello and welcome. I'm the Internet Man, and no, my computer has not been fixed. I'm on my laptop. But this video is my opinion on the 1.5 beta for Beginning of the End Times Call of Warhammer mod. Yeah. So let's get into it. I've been playing Kislev for a few turns. Really fun. A lot of fun. I like the changes so far. First of all, everything looks better, I feel. I think the map looks better. I think that I feel like the textures are a little bit different. It feels more realistic a little tad bit. Definitely diplomacy works. I haven't been attacked by any Empire faction as of yet. Chaos hasn't declared war on itself. Empire hasn't really declared war on itself. So that's always good. I like that they added more rebel cities. Well, for big factions such as Bretonia, it was always an annoyance. Because if you play as Bretonia, you have so much stuff, and but you don't have an economy. And so it's very difficult. But with this, they decreased the size of the faction, so it's much easier to play as. And I do like that it's just rebels now. I like how they added more to the New World, with more lizardmen, more of Ulthwain, and more of Nagaroth. Very, very nice. Very nice indeed. Now, they did kind of decrease the size of Chaos Wastes, which, I don't know, that's fine with me. Although it would be probably quite difficult to play as the Chaos factions now. Obviously, unless you just go into Chaos Dwarf or go into this area where Chaos Undivided is. But yeah, one of the only problems I do have with it is that playing as the rebel faction is no longer very viable because you just have too much stuff. Obviously that's not really a big issue because not many people actually play as rebels. I do, and well, it's one person out of what, a few thousand. Whenever I get a new mod for Medieval 2, I always like to play as the rebels first. And in one of the betas for Call of Warhammer, playing as the rebels was actually very viable. Like, you could. It was very easy to, actually. Especially since you had Estalia and most of Tilia. So it was actually quite easy. It was actually a lot of fun to do that. But yeah. So it seems like they also made ogres a bit more powerful. Well, they made it easier for ogres to expand, because before they were before they were blocked by the Chaos Dwarves, and the Chaos Dwarves outnumbered the ogres, really, and so just made it too easy for the Chaos Dwarves to stop the ogres. But I don't know, I feel like they did a really good job with what they're doing so far. All factions are slowly expanding. You can even see, up here at least, I'm being attacked by a rebel army right here. Small rebel army, nothing too scary at all. But still, the rebels are trying to expand. So that's always very interesting. Currently, Chaos has called an invasion on Middenheim. So we got a whole lot of stuff going there. A whole lot of Chaos forces traveling through my lands, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Obviously, I try to stop them, but you know, giant army like that, can't really do much without losing half my armies. So I'd rather not. Also with changes is specifically with Kislev. I like how well, the last time I really played Kislev was in Rage of the Dark Gods, which was the first Call of Warhammer mod out there for Medieval 2, at least to my knowledge. And in Rage of the Dark Gods, the Kislev Spearmen and Kislev Halberdiers were actually very, they were very viable as a melee unit. Very, very viable. My question, because they had spear wall formation. Both of them had spear wall formation, which made them so viable in melee, and then more specifically in the defense of cities and forts and whatnot. But now they actually, like, with their low cost, they're actually, while they're still pretty cost effective, they've lost a lot of their fighting power. They can still hold the line for a while to give your cavalry enough time to get around, especially your winged lancers, and also the winged lancers are so much better now. They're faster, they have a better charge bonus, but in prolonged combat they absolutely fail. They can't do prolonged combat, not even against Goblin Wolf Riders, which is fine because that's, well, they're the winged lancers. They're here to charge into the enemy, not hold the line. Obviously we still have the Mountain Militia and Chekists, and Corsairs are still some of the best units you'll ever find, because they're so much more viable than the Kislev Halberdiers, because they can fire at an enemy, and then once the enemy gets close, Corsairs can go toe-to-toe with, like, goblins or even marauders, especially if they've been firing at those marauders, and then they go in, kill the rest of the marauders in melee. Really good viable unit still. Really good. Now, I can't really give an opinion on the rest of the factions because I haven't played them yet. I've only played as Kislev so far. But I could say, from playing Rage of the Dark Gods and then playing this mod, it has gotten so much better. Just the map is absolutely beautiful. The units are absolutely gorgeous. And it feels like... it feels better. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Rage of the Dark Gods it was much smaller, but it was also kind of less viable in a way. No, not less viable, I'm sorry. Words. It felt too Medieval 2, right? Now, this game is still Medieval 2 with just a reskin, basically, and a few other cooler things in it. But it does feel like a different game. It actually... It's the amount of difference between Rome Total War, the original Rome Total War, and Barbarian Invasion. They were technically the same game, but it was so much different, though. Like, when playing Barbarian Invasion after playing Rome, it felt so different. It felt so much different, because in Barbarian Invasion, they had those hordes. They had the horde mechanic, which was very, very cool. And it just added this new. And this, it feels like an entirely new game. Heck, if this mod, the beta right now, it feels so much different than the first release of Beginning of the End Times. It just has that feeling of it's so entirely different. And part of it is the textures, I feel. Better rebel factions. I think how it's, instead of rebels, they're minor factions. I think that's pretty cool. And they do actually try to expand, and they do actually not just sit there. Which, really, I would have rather had this sort of mechanic in, like, Rome 2. Instead of having those dozens of random well, not random, but instead of having like the dozen factions, I would have rather had it be just a whole bunch of technically quote unquote rebels. Now, making them rebels does decrease the diplomatic, because with the actual factions you can have diplomacy and you can actually get like confederations, vassals, instead of vassalizing in another major faction, which was something that you could do in Rome, which I guess was really awesome about Rome too. I'm digress. I use a lot of words. I don't exactly know what they mean. That's fine. So, in short, I think this is I think that they've done a really good job. I may complain about a couple decisions that they make, like my beautiful Chaos Dwarves. I feel like they have not been kind, but well. Also, they've definitely changed a lot here. They just changed a lot about the map, which is really good. And I really like how, I don't know, I like the size of the map and the size of like so many cities. I feel like Total War Warhammer, basically the Empire is more or less the same size. They have a few there's a few cities that are not in Total War Warhammer. There's a few cities in Total War Warhammer that are not in this game. I mean, in this mod. But I feel like this map in here is so much bigger than in Total War Warhammer. And I feel like the mod creators have done such an excellent job in this mod. And I'd really like to thank them for their hard work and dedication to this mod, and making it one of the best gosh darn mods I've ever seen. And heck, in time, rivaling, that's not the word. Even in time, going against Divide and Conquer. Divide and Conquer is still my top mod, but this comes in a very close second. And with time, I feel like it could become just the number one. Just there's so much love in this mod, so much diversity. And it's just glorious. I think this is a glorious mod. And if you haven't checked it out or played it yet, there will be a link in the description. So yeah. Hopefully soon I'll get my computer fixed and I'll be able to, well, once the full release comes out, I'll be able to do a series on it, campaign. So I hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.